destructive sins, he said the first, before all the other ones were mentioned in the hadith, focus. For all the first that he mentioned, the 7 great destructive sins, he said polytheism and setting up partners with Allah in his worship. The second, the message of Allah ﷺ said, as-sihr. He said magic. So magic is from the 7 great destructive sins. Doesn't matter whether it's usage of the shayateen to do your dirty work, or if it's called takhyili. Takhyili mean that imaginary trickery that is full, or that the eye is tricked, as that's called takhyili. Takhyili meaning that the magician comes with some type of trick in order to play or fool the eye. But it's an illusion. It's a what? It's takhyili. It's illusionary. So you have 2 types of magic, and both of them are permissible. You have the magic where the usage, where one uses the shayateen, uses the devils or the jinn to do his dirty work, to affect people, to hurt them, or maybe destroy relationships, or separate between 2 loved ones, or separate between 2 spouses or families, or in order to harm someone in their mental state. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have forbade the practice of both types of magic. Doesn't matter whether it's the usage of the shayateen, or it's takhyili, or if it just popped, then it went back off again. No. Huh? How you know? Just leave it. Leave it. Just leave it. We'll fix it later, inshallah. So it does not matter. It does not matter whether it's usage of the shayateen to do your dirty work, or if it's what they call illusionary magic. What is the usage of what? It's like an illusion. Both types of magic are impermissible, and they're from the 7 great destructive sins that people are not supposed to what? Indulge in or partake in. So, from the affairs in which you'll find that the people of the book that they indulge or they partake or that they partook in is, like we said, belief in the Jibt, and we said the Jibt also means what? Magician, or sorcery, or magic. What we concluded to say, why the great Imam Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, why did he put this ayah in the chapter? What was the correlation? What's the connection? What's the connection, everyone? What did we say last class? What did we say? Why did he mention this ayah concerning the Jews or concerning the people of the book? Why did he put this in the chapter? What was the reason? Exactly. Ahsant. The reason why the great Imam that he put the ayah in the chapter, because the message of Allah clarified that his ummah eventually will start to resemble the people of the book in everything. He will start to they will resemble them in a lot of affairs, especially in those matters that are pertaining to worship. They'll even try to resemble the people of the book in those very tedious affairs, especially they are the most sacred of affairs and the most highest as far as in its magnitude, if one was to fall to something that opposes it, which is an ibadah, that the people from his ummah will resemble the people of the book. That's the reason why I put this ayah in the chapter. So the reason why I put the ayah in the chapter, and this is what you will write in your book, the reason for why Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab put this ayah in the chapter is because this ummah, it has been established that this ummah will resemble the people of the book, even in their affairs of worship. So there will be people from this ummah that will what? Fall into what? Belief in the Jibt, belief in the Taghut, and they will also fall into polytheism. Why? Because out of them resembling the people of the book. Out of them resembling the people of the book. Them being amazed at them, and like we said last class, even the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, almost to the point that they will resemble the people of the book to the extent that he said that if there were a person from amongst them that would come and be intimate with their own mother in front of the people or openly. Openly, there will be someone from my ummah that would do the same exact thing. Out of resembling them. Out of resembling the people of the book. To show how much that from his ummah, that they resemble the people of the book to this extent they would do something horrific or something condemned so as much as the one to be intimate with his own mother. For ya ma'ashal ikhwa, when the Messenger of Allah warned, when he said in these narrations how for us, how this ummah will resemble the people of the book, it was to warn them not to fall into it. It wasn't to encourage them to do it. He was saying it out of a warning, not to do it. And that if you do it, it will be a reason for your doom. And it will be a reason for your destruction. Just as what happened to them. That if you do the exact same thing they did, and you embark upon the same path they did, then just as it was a reason for their destruction, could be a reason for yours likewise. And do not think just because you're Muslim that it will what? Save you. If you fall into affairs that are what? Prohibited, and that oppose the religion, the commands of Allah and His Messenger. Is it clear as what I'm saying, everyone? So I ask again, what's the reason why the ayat was put in the chapter? Fadl, below. Ahsant. That's all I wanted to know. Here in the ayat, what was mentioned in the book is saying that the people of the book in the past fell into belief in the Taghut and the belief in Egypt. And the Messenger of Allah clearly brings narrations, and it's in this chapter. If you flip a couple of pages, you look in your book, the Prophet ﷺ clearly mentioned and said, you will most definitely follow the ways of those who preceded from amongst you. If you look in the chapter, the hadith is right there. So the Messenger of Allah clearly established that from his ummah, who will what? Will fall to resembling the people of the book. Jayid? So that's the reason why this ayah was put in the chapter. That they will fall to exactly what they fell into. But if you look to the next ayah, if you look in your books, it says, قُلْ هَلْ أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِشَرٍّ مِّن ذَلِكَ مَثُوبَةً عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَنْ لَعْنَهُ اللَّهُ وَغَضِبَ عَلَيْهِ وَجَعَلَ مِنْهُمُ الْقِرَدَةَ وَالْخَنَازِيرَ وَعَبْدَ الطَّاغُوتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, and this is the next verse that the great Imam used as a evidence to connect with the title of the chapter. The next ayah, if you look at your books, everyone, it says, Will I not inform you of what is more evil than that? In repayment with Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. Meaning in repayment with Allah. The one who Allah cursed in his wrath and he descended upon them, or he became angry with them, and as a result of it, he made from amongst them apes and pigs, and the worshippers of the Taghut. And the worshippers of the Taghut. أُولَٰئِكَ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا وَأَضَلُّ عَنْ سَوَاءِ السَّبِيلِ. As it says in the last part of the ayah, أُولَٰئِكَ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا وَأَضَلُّ عَنْ سَوَاءِ السَّبِيلِ. He said they are the most evil with Allah in status or in place, and they're the most astray. It goes in and out, huh? And they are most astray in their path. طيب. You'll find, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, if you look in the ayah, what does it say? Will I not inform you of what is more evil than that? Will I not inform you of what is more what? What is more evil than that? What did I put down? Oh, here it is, right here. طيب. In this ayah, if you look at your books, everyone, it was speaking about similar to what we mentioned previously, especially those who made mockery of the Muslimin from the people of the book. So this ayah also is concerning what? Or concerning who? This ayah is also concerning the people of the book who mocked the Muslims from the people of the book, from the Yahud and the Nasara, from the Jews and the Christians. And also those who are upon polytheism from the Wathaniyun, those who worship idols. Taib. You'll find when they made mockery, or they made fun of, or they made mockery of the Muslimin, whether it be from the people of the book or from the people who worship the Awthan, who are called Wathaniyun. What happened was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down a rebuttal against them. You'll find that Allah wa ta'ala says in His book, Hal unabbi'ukum, will I not inform you of those who are more evil than that, as in repayment with Allah, the ones who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed, meaning those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expelled and casted them out from His mercy due to their disbelief, and from them in the past were the Jews and the Christians. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that they also fell into the curse of Allah due to them falling into numerous affairs that oppose the commands of Allah and the prophets that He sent by disobeying them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions these stories in His book. Sit with him. He's memorizing. He's memorizing. Like I said, one day, no, just get your chair. You have to have patience with kids. Trust me, I know. He's memorizing. The information of a kid, if he's drifting. Focus. He's memorizing. He's memorizing. طيب. So it says the one who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's curse has descended upon from the Jews and the Christians. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in His book to tell us, inform us, that it's as if Allah, rather, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, you, O Muslims, if you fall into these affairs, same thing can happen to you. That you're not exonerated, you're not protected, you don't have some immunity from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath. If you fall into what they fell into, you were given warnings, you were given details of what happened in the past, what was the reason for their demise and their doom. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to us straight, in details of what destroyed them. Similar to that is what's been mentioned here in this ayah, also clarifies what they fell into. You fall into the same thing, the curse of Allah can fall upon us, the Muslims. And the Muslims did fall into these affairs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, the one who Allah, His anger, has descended upon. He's descended upon those who disbelieve, and those who have worshipped idols. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also made from amongst them monkeys and pigs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He changed them and He altered them, rather as they say, for masakahum, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had mutated them. And He changed them into what? Into apes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also changed them into what? He changed them into pigs. And at the last part of the ayah, if you look at it, it says Allah also made them from the worshippers of the Taghut. So all those affairs are what? Highly condemned and vilified. Very ugly. To be people who are changed and mutated and altered into what? Altered until they became apes or monkeys. But they became what? Pigs. And they also became what? Worshippers of the Taghut, as it says in the ayah clearly. You'll find the Ahl Ilm that will discuss, inshaAllah, because someone would try to use this as an ayah to justify the Darwin or Darwinism, which is the belief that humans have evolved from apes based upon this ayah. as we know that as what they call the theory of, or what they call Darwinism, or the belief of what? Of Darwin. Well, Darwinism is the belief that human beings evolved from apes or monkeys into human beings. That is against the belief of Islam, and it's incumbent upon everyone to disbelieve in that. It has no foundation whatsoever. And we're going to talk about this in light of the ayah. As you'll find from the Salaf and from them, I'm going to read some of the statements from the Sahaba, from Ibn Abbas and other than them, said they were people who Allah mutated. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them to what? To die, and there would never be anyone from amongst them that would what? Evolve. Meaning, once they died, that was it. Once they died, that was it. There wasn't anyone that was branched off from their offspring, or that what? That multiplied and broke off from their lineage, or what have you, where a lineage of so-called apes and monkeys continued. Rather, when they died, that was it. I'm going to read the statements of Abdullah ibn Abbas and other than from the Sahaba, what they mentioned in this ayah. But as we know, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, we do not believe, again, that human beings evolved from monkeys or animals. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? We don't believe in Darwinism. Darwinism is a theory. Theories, and a theory, you have to know the meanings of these words that the non-Muslims use. A theory. A theory means that it can be what? It's subjected to what? To change. And it can be found to be what? Mistakes. Or be found to be mistaken. And it can change. That's what a theory is. It's not absolutely established. You have to listen to their words and the things that they use. A theory is not something that's been what? Substantiated 100%. It can be changed. It can be altered. And it can also be found eventually to be what? A mistake. So we do not believe in Darwinism. That the Ahl Sunnah, we believe that the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, that they would create, that Adam, the son of Adam, was created from what? From mud. He was created from dirt. That was his origin. That was his asl. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the ruh, He put the spirit in him, and then he became alive. We do not believe in all these terms that they come with, homo erectus, or what have you, or homo, meaning that he started off as being hunched over, as an ape, and then he came, and then he started becoming raised, and his back became straight, because he was eventually a caveman, because he came from an ape, and he became a caveman, and then after that, he evolved, where his back became straight, and he became homo erectus, where he became an upright, straight human being walking around. All these affairs are rejected, and it's incumbent upon us to what? To not believe in it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? We do not believe in Darwinism. And I hope everyone holds on to that. طيب. So in this ayah, you'll find that it says, even Sheikh Abdurrahman ibn Hassan Ali Sheikh, and he said in regard to this ayah, he said, سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن القردة والخنازير. This is a Sahih Muslim. أهي مما مسخ الله فقال إن الله لم يهلك قوما أو قال لم يمسخ قوما فجعل لهم نسلا ولا عقبا وإن القردة والخنازير كانت قبل ذلك. It was asked the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم about apes and pigs. Are they from whom Allah mutated, changed from a human being to what? To these animals. He says, verily Allah, this hadith is a Sahih Muslim. He said, verily Allah did not destroy a people or did not mutate a people where He made from amongst them progeny or a lineage. Meaning that Allah what? Meaning that what, everyone? That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mutated the Jews and the Christians and changed them into what? Al-Qiradata wal-Khanazir, that He did not make from them any what? Offspring. Or any what? Prodigy. Was there anything? It stopped. They died. That's it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? He says, verily the apes and the pigs, they existed before that. What does that mean? That they were already there. They were not what? From those who Allah mutated. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? كانت قبل ذلك. They existed before that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So they're not from who evolved, or things that evolved into these people, or vice versa, where the apes evolved into human beings, or human beings evolved into monkeys, or vice versa, or have you. An Imam al-Baghawi, so that's when we'll just start that right there. Please don't tell me it's time to call you then already. Wow. Man, time is coming in fast. You want to call it, Amir? I think is it in? Huh? Yeah, it's in. I think it's in now. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة أن آتي محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعث مقام المحمود الذي وعدته. طيب. Trust me, he's memorizing. If Allah knows best, when I catch him when he's up, he'll be the majority, or not about 80% of this information, he'll repeat it back to me. You think I'm joking? Watch this. What am I talking about now, Kaden, Musa? Watch this. Mm-hmm. What else? Watch this. Told you he's memorizing. طيب. That means that's not a license for you to do it. طيب. Hey, Ahmed, where was you at all this time? Get a chair and sit in the chair, please. طيب. Patience. Have patience with these children. طيب. So we say in this regard, you have to have patience with these children. I advise myself with that too. Where's your books at? All right. Fine, come on, brothers. So you'll find you need a piece of paper. Hurry up. With haste, yeah, Ahmed, with haste. طيب, you look in that ayah, brothers. So we said that Allah Ta'ala, that He mutated them until they became apes, and likewise khanazir, that they became pigs. You find Imam al-Baghawi, he said about this ayah, or concerning this ayah, it says, O Muhammad, would I not inform you? Bisharrin min dhalik. Would I not inform you of those who are more evil than that? He said, those who ألم نرى أهل الدين أقل حظا في الدنيا والآخرة منكم ولا دين شرا من دينكم. فذكر الجواب بلفظ الابتداء وإن لم يكن الابتداء شرا لقوله قل أفأنبئكم بشر من ذلكم النار. They was talking about now all of these people were on a level of evil. But as we know, evil is of different levels. There are certain people that are more evil than others. There are certain people that are more in their depths of disbelief that are more deeper than others, which means that they are more evil than others. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, He says those who are more evil than that in their repayment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. Those who Allah has cursed, and His wrath became upon them from the Yahud, from the Jews, in which Allah mutated them into becoming monkeys and pigs. You'll find that some of the tafsir that it mentions, it says that al-qiradah, or those apes, they were the people of Saturday. Who's the people of Saturday? Who's the Jews? Why we call them ashab as-sabt? Why they were called the people of the what? Saturday, which is called the Sabbath. Why, everyone? What did they do? What did they do that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed about them that as a result of something they did, His wrath, ahsant, it's the story of the fish. Basically, they tried to play a trick on Allah. They tried to play a trick, exactly, look at your face. They tried to play a trick on Allah. What happened was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them not to what? Not to fish on a specific day. That was a day for them to what? It was a day for them to relax, or for them not to work at all. And they were not, in their sharia and their particular legislation, from the affairs that they were supposed to observe was not to do any work on what? On Saturday, not to indulge or partake in catching fish or what have you. Just to sum it up. There's more details than that, but just to give everyone some, to keep it straight to the point. But at any rate, you'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to test them. So certain days came where the fish would come in abundance. A fish would come on certain days in abundance. On Saturday, it would become less. Then Allah wanted to test them. So the days when they were supposed, there was a period of time where Allah Ta'ala wanted to test them. Where the days when they could fish, the fish wouldn't be in abundance. But on Saturday, it would be in abundance. Why? Because Allah wanted to what? See what they were going to do. So He tested them. So when they seen that it was in abundance on Saturday, they say, okay, we know we're not supposed to do anything. We're not supposed to catch fish. That's from our sharia. We're not supposed to do anything. So what they did was they did a trick. They took the net and they set it there. So the fish would get caught and then they would catch it later. In order to what? To exonerate themselves from saying that we did anything on Saturday. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So they try to play a trick and say, oh Allah, see we didn't do any work, but we just put the net there and the work was done by in actuality was done by what? That net that caught the fish. As a result of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what? Called them the people of what? Accept that they had transgressed the bounds on that day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was mentioning the tafsir about them or concerning the ashab as-sabt, the people of Saturday, or the people of what they call the Sabbath or what have you. He says you'll find that Allah ta'ala, He is the one that caused them to become pigs, and from the ulama, from their scholars who became, their people, from their common folk became apes and monkeys, and their scholars became pigs. I'm going to read quickly even what the ulama of tafsir, what they mentioned, it said. There's one tafsir, just listen everyone, it said, فَالْقِرَدَةُ أَصْحَابُ السَّبْتِ. Al-Qiradah, Ashab as-Sabt. He said that the apes or the monkeys were the people of what? As-Sabt. The people of what? The people of Saturday. The people of what? Saturday. Or the people of the Sabbath. They were supposed to uphold the Sabbath. And they said also, وَالْخَنَازِيرُ كُفَّارُ مَائِدَةِ عِيسَى. He said that the pigs, they were the disbelievers from the plate that descended from the heavens with the food on it, which was requested by who? By Isa, by Jesus, the son of Mary. So that's one tafsir. I'll talk about that in a minute. As we know, Surah Al-Ma'idah, if you look in that Surah Al-Ma'idah in the Quran, we know it's the last page. It's right there. On the last page of Surah Al-Ma'idah, you'll find that Allah Ta'ala, you'll find that from those who wanted to see a sign, who from the people of Isa, that asked him to descend a table from the heavens with food already what? Prepared, and it's already laid out on that Ma'idah, on that table. It's not called Ma'idah, it's called Ma'idah. Okay, everyone? But at any rate, so they requested it. Allah Ta'ala made it as a sign. طيب. Allah Ta'ala also gave a warning in that same ayah, Surah Al-Ma'idah. For those who disbelieve after this sign, that he said, he will punish them a punishment that he did not punish anyone from the creation. You understand it? Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? He's memorizing. Is it clear what I'm saying so far? طيب. Based upon that, you'll find that some of the punishment, or that punishment was mentioned here in this ayah. As it says here, that from those from the people of the book who became apes or monkeys, I could say apes, monkeys, that they were the people of Saturday. The people who, in one tafsir, it says the khanazir, or the pigs, were the people who, those who requested that the ma'idah, or that table with food on it, that to descend from the heavens, those who disbelieve, they became pigs. Meaning from those who Isa had what? Had allowed that sign, or asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that particular what? Sign. That's one tafsir. That's one. Another tafsir is on the authority of Ali ibn Abi Talha, on the authority of Ibn Abbas. It said that the qirada wa khanazir an al-musakhinin an al-musakhain kilahuma or those who are musikhu min ashab al-sabt فشبانهم أو فشبابهم مسخوا قردة وشيوخهم مسخوا خنازير. Another tafsir that says those who were mutated, both of them were from the people of Saturday. It said their youth were mutilated, or they were mutated and changed or altered into pigs, and their shuyukh, meaning from their elderly that did this crime, they were mutated into what? They were mutated into pigs. So they said that was from the tafsir of either from the people of Isa or from the people of what? Of the Jews and the Christians, from the people of who? Saturday. And both of them, all of them are correct. All for both of them are what? Correct. You'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what? Altered them, mutated them, and changed them into what? Monkeys and pigs. Due to them not what? Not observing the commands that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had commanded, likewise their messenger at that particular time. You'll find that a hadith that from this ummah will happen to some of the people of this ummah. Stay with me. It will happen from some of the people to this ummah who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also revealed to his messenger, that there will be people who will have upon them the qi'an wa ma'az, and also ma'azif, yamsakhahum Allah ta'ala, that those from this ummah, those who indulge in musical instruments and indulge in sound of music, who Allah will also alter them and change them. He will also alter them and change them. So that will also happen to this what? This ummah. From those who what? Fell into what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prohibited. And you find that this is widespread all around the earth. إِلَّا مَنْ عَصَمَهُمُ اللَّهِ, who falls into listening to music, وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. So you'll find that that's from the tafsir of what we just mentioned. The tafsir that we said that those who were mutilated from them was the Jews and the Christians either. From those who disbelieved in that sign that Allah, that Isa ibn Maryam had asked Allah to descend from the heavens of that plate of food that would come down, and that was supposed to be a sign for them. For those who disbelieved, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them what? What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them? What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them, brothers and sisters? Made them pigs. And those from Ashab al-Sabt were considered what? Those from the people of Saturday, they became monkeys. That's upon one statement. Another statement from the Salaf, they said it was both. They all were from who? From the Yahud. They all were from the Jews who set out on that Saturday to catch the fish or partake in that affair, and as a result of it, when they fell into that, was prohibited by Allah and the messenger at that time, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made from their youth, what? Made from their youth? Made from their youth, monkeys. And made from their elderly or from their shuyukh, pigs. Made from their shuyukh, pigs. Type. Is that the point of why the great Imam has mentioned this ayah here, everyone? The point of the ayah, or as they say, موضع الشاهد يأتي أو يجي في آخر الآية. He says you'll find that the point of reference comes in the last part of the ayah, where it says what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them into what? Pigs, monkeys, and what? Abad al-Taghut. The worshippers of the Taghut. That's the point of the ayah. Notice all three affairs of what happened to the Yahud and to the people of the book, and the last affair, which is worshippers of the Taghut. All of this will happen to some of this ummah. All three gathered together, what was mentioned in the ayah, similar to what happened to some of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know to this day that you see from this ummah who are the worshippers of the Taghut. You see that. You find that from this ummah who have now fell into worship of the Taghut. You'll find that. From those who worship the dead, from those who worship the deceased, those who worship people who are righteous and people who are wretched. Even though we said, as far as the meaning of a Taghut, we said that the condition if a person died and they did not make it clear, they are not pleased with the people worshiping them, then likewise they are what? A Taghut. As far as those from the people who worship the prophets and the messengers and the righteous, then we say they are not worshiping the Taghut as far as the prophets themselves, but they're worshiping a Taghut who are a jinn. Or they're worshiping the people who are the jinn in actuality or the shayateen, but not specifically those who died. Why? Because those who died from the righteous would not be pleased with those who are worshiping them. And that's the reason why they're not considered Tawaghit. And that's the reason why they're not considered Taghut. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? For a person would say, for example, the Christians, well, you saying we worship Jesus, so well, Jesus is a Taghut. We say that Isa was alive, he would not be pleased with the people what? Worshiping him. That's the reason why he's not considered a what? A Taghut. Because if you look from the examples of what we said of a Taghut, what is it, everyone? Man ubida wa huwa radin. Who is worshipped and he or she is pleased with the people worshiping him or her. If that's the case, then they are truly a what? A Taghut. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It's واضح. ليس بواضح. اتضح. طيب. الآن نمشي. So is it clear what we're saying? Is it clear? J. However, if that person is pleased with the people worshiping him or her, then they're considered what, everyone? Taghut. None of the prophets and the messengers and the righteous who follow the prophets and the messengers will ever be pleased with the people what? Worshiping them. That's why they're not considered Tawaghit. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Rather, you'll find that a lot of those who the people used to worship from the righteous on the day of resurrection, as we know, they're going to free themselves from those who worship them, and they're going to say in actuality they were worshiping who, everyone? The shayateen or the jinn. As you'll find that the malaika were also worshipped in this world. He says, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَوْمَ نَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ نَقُولُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ أَنْتَ وَلِيُّنَا مِن دُونِهِمْ بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ. That, for example, with the people of the malaika, from those who are the malaika are righteous ibad, mukarramun. As we know that the malaika are honorable, noble worshippers of Allah. Ibadun mukarramun. However, when the ayah, what does it say, everyone? That the angels would say, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gathers everyone on the day of resurrection, and those who used to be worshipped in this world, Allah is going to stop and establish the proof and establish the truth. And He's even going to ask the angels on the day of resurrection, are the people that they used to worship in this world? What are the angels going to say? Subhanaka anta waliyuna min dunihim bal kanu ya'budun al-jinn aktharuhum bihim yu'minun. He says, you are their wali besides us. Or rather, you're their wali besides them, excuse me. Rather, they used to worship the jinn. Majority of the people in this world believe in them. So in actuality, the people who they think that they're worshiping the dead or what have you, they're not worshiping the dead in actuality. If, of course, like we said, if the person's not pleased with them being worshipped with them, or with the people worshiping them, rather you'll find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear that they were worshiping who? They were worshiping the jinn. That they were worshiping the jinn. Taib. Now let's make the correlation. Why did the great Imam mention this in the ayah in the first place? What's the reason? What's the reason, everyone? Ahsant. So the people of the book fell into worshiping what? Or they became, or they mutated in some of them, into monkeys, into apes, and the worshippers of the Taghut. As we know in the narrations, the Prophet ﷺ clearly mentioned and said that there will be people from his ummah who would do similar, rather, they would do exactly what the people of the book what they did in the affairs of worship. Tashabbuhan bihim, out of worshiping and resembling them. Tayyib. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, from what they fell into was being worshippers of what, everyone? Of the Taghut. Likewise, there will be from this ummah who will also worship the Taghut. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Tayyib. Also from the Muslimun who also worship the Taghut is those who believe in democracy, and those who believe in liberalism, and those who believe in communism, and those who believe in democratia, wa ilmaniya, wa jamhuriya, and those being conservatives. All of that is a form of Taghut, and you'll find that Muslims have what? Adopted, and they believe in it. They are all Tawaghit. All of them are what? All of them are Taghut. I'm going to ask everyone, how did the Jews and the Christians of the past fall into this? Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said they took their rabbis and their monks as lords besides Allah. Why, everyone? Because they used to legislate affairs that clearly opposed the what? The commands of Allah and their prophet or their messenger at that particular time. They legislated, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that was a type of them what? Or a form of them what? Worshipping them. As far as what they used to what? What they used to embrace as far as different legislations was used to govern lands. Their monks and their rabbis came with different laws, and they legislated, and the people followed them in that. Similar to that, what the Muslims are doing these days is adopting the ways of what, everyone? Of all these different types of systems that you see of democracy, and what you see of liberalism and all of that. Where these affairs now contradict, and their legislation, their laws contradict what Allah and His Messenger have legislated. And they changed it. Such as, for example, if a person was to come and say, no, we need to modernize Islam. For example, we know Allah legislated such and such as a capital punishment for fornication or stealing. No, we need to take that away. That's uncivilized. And we need to put in its place that a person will abide in jail forever until he dies. If that is a type of legislation, which is what? Taghuti. That's Taghuti. Change the legislation of what Allah has what? Sanctioned in His Messenger. That is a form of a Taghut. If you believe in it, you can what? As a result of it, you can what? Nullify your iman if you're not careful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it clearly in His book, وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. That is from the conditions of La ilaha illallah. وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ لَا إِلَهَ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Whoever disbelieves in the Taghut, La ilaha, and believes in Allah, illallah. La ilaha illallah. So the disbelief in these affairs and these systems is from what validates your faith of La ilaha illallah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Like I said, we do not go out now and cause a commotion or a ruckus in the street, going up and down the street marching. We disbelieve in democracy. Nobody's saying that. That's not from hikmah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That's not from wisdom at all. Even though you see the Muslims doing the opposite. Rather, you'll find that that's what they condone. That's what they want. We want democracy. They're not realizing that you're wanting a tawhud. That's what's incumbent upon you to disbelieve in. And you'll find in Muslim countries, they're actually demanding that. To let you know how far the people have gone away from the truth. To the point where they're marching out in the street and this is what they're demanding. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Why? Because they left off the study of these particular affairs. They think it's not important. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Also, the opposite. The opposite of extreme. Us as Muslims, we're not going to go out in the street, walk up down the street, brag, and say, you know, we just believe in the Tawhid, we don't believe in democracy, what have you. But now some guys are going to go up and start some type of ruckus. Or start some type of what? Affair that is not considered from wisdom. But if someone was to ask you, and investigate it, we just kindly say to them, we don't disbelieve in it, and we don't indulge in voting and participating in that, and that's it. No more, no less. You know, that's my belief. I'm free to believe my belief, just like you are free to believe what you believe. But that's just our belief, and you should respect it, no more, no less. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? But however, we're clarifying that it's incumbent upon the Muslims not to indulge in that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that from the affairs in which this ummah will go astray in, and they will resemble the people of the book in, is in the affairs of what? Worshipping the Tawhut. And we said that Tawhut is comprehensive for all these meanings that we just gave, such as worshipping the shaitan, such as worshipping an individual or a person, or, for example, worshipping or going to a what? To a polytheist, such as a palm reader, soothsayer, crystal ball reader, palm reader, astrology reader or astrologist, numerologist, Astrodamus. All of them are tawaghit. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Astrodamus, numerologist, astrologists, all of them are considered tawaghit that's incumbent upon you to stay far away from. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Also from those tawaghit are demokratiya, democracy, jamhuriya, demokratiya, liberaliya, ilmani wa almaniya, secularism, communism, liberalism, all those are tawaghit. That's incumbent upon Muslim if he wants to meet Allah and his faith is intact, and if he wants to answer the questions in the grave with a firm resolve that he needs to stay away from these tawaghit. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Like we said, we're not going to say and go out and cause a ruckus in the streets, because I want to make that clear. Nobody's going to go up and down the street. That's not from hikmah. But we keep firm and stay firm upon what the Muslims in our belief. And that's just say this is our belief. And just like you say here in America, this is the way of America is to have freedom of what? Religion. So why can't you just respect my belief? What's the problem? We don't believe and that the system of democracy works. We don't believe it. And all you have to do is just look at the society around you. The society around you is at an all-time division in every affair. Whether it be economically, whether it be socially, families are torn apart, people are divided, violence, unnecessary bloodshed. You tell me whether or not this system works. The proof is in the pudding. You tell me. Where Chicago, I think they say at one point in time, it was 100 people dying at one time a day. At one time. Not a week, somebody told me. Calm down a little bit. I think it dropped a little bit to maybe 100 per week. 2017, 100 people died here in America of overdose of drugs and fatalities with guns and weapons. The total amount was almost 40,000 people in 1 year in 2017 in America. That's like a number of people of a city. 40,000 in 1 year. And if you guys don't believe me, all you have to do is Google it. And that's for us the reports that were reached. That's what about the reports that actually didn't reach the news. Of what they counted of all the inner cities in America, of people who died of drug overdose and fatalities from gunshots. That alone, they said it reached almost a level of 40,000 people. That's like a number of a city. And you mean to tell me that the system here works? You need to think again. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? And I think even the non-Muslims are starting to now testify to this reality. We'll stop here, inshallah. We'll continue next class. We'll see you Friday. Any questions about the class? Would you get up pray? Tafadal. Tafadal. That was just, they just wanted to follow their desires. The same argument you're using is the same argument why Allah condemned them. You get it? Exactly. Just to follow Bilal. What again? Taghut. Jibt or Taghut? Tawaghit. Tawaghit. That's the plural. Tawaghit. Tafadal. Tafadal. We didn't talk about that yet. We didn't get to that yet. That's an ayah, Surah Al-Kahf. We didn't speak about that yet. Anything else? Numerologists? People that use, you never seen people that use numbers. They use certain type of like numbers to say that certain things will occur in this world. Now, Astradamus, they're people that predict that certain things are going to happen. They put it in those magazines. That's an Astradamus. You ever seen that they say the day of resurrection will be tomorrow? They're Astradamus. No, numerologists are people that use numbers to say that certain occurrences will happen in its existence. They use numbers. For some odd reason, they use numbers. Those are called numerologists. Hold on. For the prediction of weather, I'll talk about that next class. There's a little bit of details in it, but I'll talk about it next class. Just remind me. Hold on. To hypnosis, or they say that you should stay away from it because it's a form of the use of shayateen or some type of jinn or something to that effect. To hypnotize someone is muharram because it's a usage of trying to alter the mind. Say it again. Has it been established that someone, and this is what I want someone to study, to hypnotize someone into doing something right? I want that to be proven. Any type of hypnosis you should not do at all. Rather, if you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it is some form of usage of something of the unseen, something pertaining to that, of the hypnotism or hypnosis. It is almost like casting a spell. So check it. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? But from what I know, hypnosis, if you study it and if you really get down to the actual quintessence of it, is something pertaining to altering someone's mind and using some type of magic and spell on someone. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It's not permissible to do that, to hypnotize anyone. It's not permissible to do that. We'll stop here. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.